Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So next up is a new and improved router bit storage solution. And we're gonna jump right in because some of the ideas running around in my head, this might be kind of a long video. So to start with, let's jump over to the current one. Let me show you, kind of what I don't like and things I want to change, and we'll talk about a couple ideas and we'll jump right into the build. Okay guys, so this is the current cabinet that's just held up really well for a long time. It's served me very well. It's well constructed, and I'll continue to use it, but probably for the 1/4 inch bits. This one is hand-cut dovetails on the side, which are great, but being shop furniture, I think we'll try something new, and maybe some mitered corners with some exposed dominoes, but we'll do it in the accent species. We'll custom build some dominoes, just to give it a different look. I'm also contemplating a side slide out to store some of these things that don't currently have storage room. This particular one has a bottom drawer, which I absolutely hate. To open a drawer, to get to the 2 wrenches I need is a little bit cumbersome. It looks cool, but it's just not overly functional for my needs. So we'll find some other storage options for that kind of stuff. Additionally, I'm pretty quickly starting to outgrow this one, and so I just need more room. This particular one has the Rockler inserts in it, which I really like, and I will carry that feature over to the new one. The door in this one has plexiglass in it, but it's got a rattle to it, and I could fix that rattle if I really wanted to, and we'll just try to do a little better on the new one to get rid of that rattle. So that's what we're replacing, and we'll move back over to the table and show you the parts and pieces for this one. So 100% of this build is going to be material I have on hand. And this is just a nice walnut board that I happen to have on hand. And we're gonna go ahead and use it for this project. As well, the accent material on this one, rather than being maple like a lot of the rest of the shop or cherry like the drawer in the original cabinet, the accent wood on this one is going to be African mahogany. Since I just got through all of the master bedroom stuff, I have a fair share of African mahogany on hand, so that is going to become the accent wood for this. I have 1/2 inch plywood left over for the back panel, as well as quite a bit of 8/4 material left to do the actual router bit blocks. So I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get this material rough milled tonight and let it sit. And then tomorrow we'll break out that small miter box sled and we'll start making miters and figuring out exactly what this is going to look like. I don't know if there will be plans for this. I'm pretty much winging this in the shop, and we'll see how it turns out. If there's a demand for plans, obviously we'll put some together. But this is shop furniture, so anything goes here. So I've installed a 1/2 inch dado stack in the saw. I've got my 0 clearance fence on, and I'm just buried just a smidgen. I have all the boards marked as to where I want this rabbet cut, and this will all be for the back panel. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all these pieces before I actually do the miters. So I'm going to use that small box miter sled to go ahead and get my corners because it just does such a wonderful job. The drawback to this sled is the pieces are all longer than the sled. So I'll be using the fence on the table saw as my actual stop block for the 2 different size pieces that I need. So that's what we're doing next. So I clamped a stop block over here on the fence so that this whole thing doesn't get pinched between the fence and the blade. And I've also added an offcut support because we are going to take about an inch off of this, and I really don't want that falling down into the saw since I'm not running a throat plate for this cut. So I have everything kind of loosely taped together. I'm super happy with the way that the seams came out, and the grain match is really nice. But there's going to be a vertical divider in here. I'm going to do a pull-out for the miscellaneous things that store with the router table. But that needs to be 5.5 over to the start, and it's going to be 3/4 material. So I'm going to come 5 7/8 over and get a center line. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's just kind of what I've drawn up. So I'm going to put that little center line on there. And then I'm going to set up at the table saw, and I'm going to cut a small groove there. Just nibble a little material away, and I'll do that on both of these pieces. And then we'll go to the router table. And that slide-in vertical divider is going to be a sliding dovetail. So with a bunch of that material hogged away, I've got the bit height set, the fence set. I also have a sacrificial fence so we don't get blowout in the back. And we're just going to go ahead and slowly route these. So I'm going to do this glue up over here at this bench, and I'm going to glue it up like a normal box, just using tape and glue, and then I'll put some band clamps on it once I got everything positioned. So I'm going to throw this in fast forward mode, so this goes a little bit quicker, but I'm going to glue this up just like a normal box. So I just have a couple of more things I want to do tonight, mainly because I got to wait for stuff to dry and cure. I've got this little panel built for the center divider, and it fits in here quite nicely. That's a snug fit. So we'll go over to the router table next, and we'll get that sliding dovetail portion built. But as well, this board has got a pretty significant knot in it, and I'm going to go ahead and fill that tonight and let that epoxy cure. As well, I've got the panel cut for the back. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that in and let that stuff sit for tonight, and then come after it again in the morning. I don't want to put the sliding dovetail in yet because I want to put the glides on before I slide that panel in and don't have access. So we'll just put this in here for tonight and let that glue settle in. Okay, so as we get ready to set these dominoes in place, there was a few things I needed to do. One, I milled a piece of scrap stock in the scrap bin to exactly the thickness of this stock so that I could test that domino location, because it's important that we hit that just right. And I also reset the domino to its full depth, which will take most of a normal domino, and that should give us, that's an 8x40 by the way, but that should be more than sufficient to reinforce these corners. I made my own domino stock. This is just out of some scrap African mahogany, cut to the right thickness and size at the table saw and the planer, and then rounded over with a 1/8 inch round over bit at the router table to get that shape. As far as locations, I set up 2 squares, one for the front and the back, and one for the center location, so that they're all consistently the same. And I've already got all these marked. Another challenge I'm gonna have is this is kind of tall. So I'm probably gonna move this over to the other bench closer to my vacuum and clamp it down and probably work off a small little step stool to get this. But let me reset up the camera and we'll cut some domino locations. So I'm going to do that to all 4 sides and then come back and flush trim them and then probably go ahead and sand this case. I realize this video is running really long and we still have a lot to do. So unfortunately I'm going to break this up into 2 videos. When we get after it again, we'll do the pull out, we'll do the door, and of course all the blocks to hold the router bits and all that stuff. And we'll get this finished up. We're also going to do a new finish on this, new to me, certainly not new to the industry, but I'm going to try something different since it's shop furniture. So stay tuned until next time, guys, when we finish this up. Until then, take care.